Hi everyone, welcome back to the Kelly Lundberg podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Lundberg, and today I really wanted to take a look back at some of the fabulous episodes that we've created over the last 12 months. We've had some incredible guests. Can't believe that we're over 140 episodes of the Kelly Lundberg Show. So here are some of my personal favourites and your personal favourites by downloads. Let's get into it. Marisa Peer, world-renowned therapist and best-selling author. Apart from the fact that it's rapid and you want the results, how would someone go through that journey and what would it look like?
There are certain therapy methods where you go in and the therapist wants to find out what happens. If you said, I can never sleep or I can't ever leave food on my plate, every therapist knows that there's no baby in the world born unable to sleep and no baby is born unable to leave food. Almost all of our problems are acquired, and a good therapist would go, well, clearly you acquired that. Let's find out how and why and where. I call it putting on a different hat. So the first hat is you become a good detective. A good detective gathers information. They look at stuff. They kind of put things on the wall, go, look at that. That was there, and that's the crime scene. That's the person. And they gather information. And we do exactly the same. We become a good detective. When we gather, when did this happen? Every client is showing you the story of their life. But we have to make sure that every client has a much better ending that they would have had if they hadn't seen us.
Simon Alexander Ong, coach, speaker, and author.
How can you be a little strategic so you stack the odds in your favor that the people you do get to meet at that event could be those who could help you?
And I think that kind of nicely takes us into the personal brand space in terms of how do you stand out in the things that you do and just the small things. So the attention to detail and the sitting in the front row and making connections and building your network and not going, I'm going to write a book tomorrow, but it's like, this is part of my journey and I'm going to be doing it. And, that took 2019. So we're talking 3 years till it actually happened.
And standing out is so important because we're in a very noisy world right now. If you look at any industry, there is so much competition.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking to stand out, you're only going to become a me too. Because fundamentally, all of our products and services are the same.
Yeah. Isha Shaheen, etiquette and protocol expert. Things that you've learned from doing your personal brand journey with us.
I would say that I'm a kind of a person who is a little bit easygoing. I love the soft life. And then you taught me something. It changed me to become proactive rather than reactive. I've always got my clients by word of mouth, through training centers, through social media, but I was never the person who approaches. And now I'm doing the whole thing from a different point of view. Another thing is to find your main values and to align your business to it, not only your life, not only your personal life. So I made sure that my personal brand is aligned to my values.
Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, world-renowned business educator and coach.
The problems that occur with success, nobody ever talked about that before. All we talk about is what's great about success. We don't talk about the baggage that comes with success. Yeah. With success comes a lot of challenges. And I talk about what do successful people do wrong? Nobody talked about that. All I talked about is what they do right. I talked about problems that come with success and what leaders need to stop. So I think the book is very unique in that sense. Also, the book has the world's best title. What got you here won't get you there. It's a killer title. I do Google search, so I find out every time someone uses that quote. Every day people use that quote.
It's so good. So I've heard it in business, they're not actually putting the two together with the book. I think about it from the business capacity. Okay, I'm here in business now, but what got me here won't get me to the next stage. Right. Means the same thing, but it's a different aspect when you're putting it into
Mine
it.
is on the leadership dimension, predominantly.
Yeah. 4 things I did to up-level my personal brand and business. How does a personal brand strategist, someone who's in the industry, up-level their personal brand? Because I think it's really important to understand that your brand is constantly evolving. So with that, how does someone who's already in the industry that maybe has a brand, if you don't, what are they actually doing? I look back at the last 6 months and I'm thinking, you know what? These are the things that have really stood out and how I've up-leveled my personal brand, but ultimately my life and business, because your personal brand is you. Gautam Ganglani, CEO of Right Selection Group.
The book is one of the many personal branding touch points, if I can call it that, that really helps us decide this speaker is marketable because they have a book which is available on Amazon, available in bookstores, is being read by people. And that's how they build the followers and the fans to make them a brand that's worth, listening to.
That all makes sense. So other than a book, what other credentials or credibility would you look for in taking on a speaker?
In today's times, I would say, do they have a podcast?
Yeah.
Do they have a blog?
Yep.
Do they write articles? And do they have a column in a magazine, in a newspaper? Are they speaking at association events? Are they sharing their content, example, on LinkedIn, on Instagram?
Magda Snowden, nurse, mentally agile coach and mentor. What are some of the results that have come through you really maintaining consistency with your personal brand?
In the first week, when I sent few hundred messages, there were a few really powerful connections. I got a speaking gig at COP28 and well-being coaching sessions about personal well-being to healthier planet, and that was related to coaching in healthcare. So
From
for me,
LinkedIn.
this is major.
It's huge. From LinkedIn, less than 8 weeks into business.
Yes. And then I also had this, let's say, a dream that very quickly turned to a vision that I want to start building my own community of like-minded individuals, how to change the narrative from the healthcare hero to wellness warrior, give people the opportunity to say it is okay not to be okay.
Beyond Power, CEO of TLC Lions and keynote speaker. That credibility really helped your personal brand. Did you realize that at the time, or have you added into that as it's gone on over the years?
I think I realized, like, if my audience are the corporate world and senior HR leaders, most people knew PwC within that sphere. So otherwise, I'm just this guy called Gian. Whereas actually, if I'm Gian, an ex-Deutsche Bank and PwC employee, okay, that means one, he's credible because they trusted him to hire him. Two, obviously he's got some understanding of the corporate world. He's not just coming in and providing another HR learning solution. So it really, really did help. And number three, I absolutely leveraged my PwC network. Well, the beauty about PwC was that many people join and then they leave after they qualify. Some people stay. So friends went into, I don't know, PepsiCo to law firms to this. So everybody, as I left, a year later, they left. So those connections and relationships.
Dr. Kirsten Brem, former cardiac surgeon. What have been some of the things that you've learned about kind of building your personal brand over the past sort of 6 or 7 months that maybe you didn't know before or that you've done differently?
You're basically seeking help. I think when I was younger, I was like, oh no, getting help is like cheating. So I can only be proud of myself if I did it myself. We have for sports, we have a coach, we have a trainer, someone who tells us what to do and how to train. With our careers or with our personal brand, we think we know it all. Yeah, it's just an accelerator. You get ahead so much faster. And that was what I wanted to do.
Pamela Glazier, travel counsellor.
How personal is too personal? Because I'm always thinking, does someone even care that I'm doing this today? Like going to this coffee shop, where is the line? Because I, as someone who doesn't put really anything that personal on, it feels, I don't know, I don't want to bore people.
So that's when you're in your own headspace, worrying too much about the opinions of others. So I think it's got to be that piece on how can I add value? So it could even be, so let's just take that, here at this coffee shop, it could be what could add value to that piece that you're sharing rather than, hey, look at me, I'm in a coffee shop. To answer the question about where's the line's your personal line. And that line is very different for everyone. And some people love oversharing because that's their personal brand. Kirk Miller, online fitness professional. As much as people will look at you, there is the other people go, but how's that going to work for me? So I think a piece of advice for someone who's looking to kind of marketing strategies for their social media, it doesn't always need to be about you to inspire other people. So where's the success stories of others to inspire?
That's a great point, Kelly. As a business and as a brand that is trying to portray or saying, which our new brand strapline is, we lead the way in changing lives forever. Where's the demonstration? Where's the proof? I think it's even more important to have testimonials and visual and verbal and written proof that we can do what we say we can do. Especially as a business and a brand in my space, it's fundamental to tell as many stories as possible.
Dr. Corey Block, business strategist, author, speaker. personal brand is not just who you when you meet the person. It comes from that email correspondence.
Yeah.
And she says you should audit your email. So go through your last 5 emails and look how many warm words you used and how many competent words you used.
Oh, interesting.
And love is a warm word.
Yeah.
So then that brings itself an expectation from a personal brand. I think that's quite obvious.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's following the pecan rule, right? Like the pecan wheel. We build memories and we experience people based on the peak highs, the peak lows, and the end, whatever. So you can have an entire relationship or an email, right? You remember the high point in the email, the low point in the email, and the end. And the end is always warm, right? If it's always love Corey, then it doesn't matter how abrasive or corrective I am during the email. I can actually be abrasive and at the end love Corey. And so something happens in their mind where they're like, oh, well, I must be misinterpreting the email, because even if I have been abrasive or confrontational,
shorter to the point.
Yeah, they'll look at it and they'll question their own interpretation of it, because I'm saying love Corey.
Wondering which platform is best for building your personal brand on? LinkedIn is the place to be. Many of my clients, as well as people that I meet at events, are often really nervous and don't know where to start when it comes to getting out content and building relationships on this fantastic social media platform. And that's exactly why I created How to Grow Your Personal Brand on LinkedIn. I actually got that name from Instagram when I asked my followers which one did they think was the best. That was the one they chose. This course is designed to help you share content that's personal and professional, that connects with your personal brand values, but more than that, just how can you grow long-lasting relationships on a platform with people all over the world. For my listeners, or for those that are watching this, I'm offering this 9-step module, which is really easy to complete in the next couple of hours for just $47. Click the link below, purchase it straight away, and then come and say hi on LinkedIn. I'd love to see what you've updated.